You wake up face down in the sand, the sun already blazing above you like it's determined to scorch the earth. When you lift your head, grains of desert grit fall from your eyelashes and the heat clings to your skin like wet linen. In the distance, you hear the low hum of voices calling out wares in a tongue you recognize without knowing why. The thump of sandals on baked earth, the bleating of goats being herded towards the city gates. In the distance, you can see a giant triangle. Its whiteness reflects the sun directly into your eyes. You remember what you once learned in history class. You're clearly in ancient Egypt. You rise slowly, bones creaking like old papyrus scrolls. All around you are towering pylons etched with hieroglyphs, sandstone walls glowing gold in the morning light, palm trees swaying along the Nile's distant curve. There's no doubt about it. You're in Kemet, land of pharaohs and gods, where the dead walk through the afterlife and the living survive only by the favor of higher powers. You begin to walk, not because you know where you're going, but because standing still feels like waiting to die. The streets buzz with life. Merchants shout praises to Sobek and Hathor as they sell dates and beer from reed-woven baskets. Scribes dip reed pens into pots of black ink, recording the movements of trade. You pass farmers with sunburned shoulders carrying bundles of wheat on their backs, and priests in flawless white robes who glance your way just a moment too long, as if they've seen you before. You're overwhelmed, so much so that you barely notice your own feet slowly but surely walking you out of the city and taking you toward the river. You're near the reeds now, at the edge of the Nile, the cradle of humanity, one of the most important rivers to ever exist for mankind. While you're thinking about all those history lessons you swear would never be of use, you don't notice the ripple forming in the water. As you're taking one more step to pick up a reed, a snout breaks the surface, and before you can move, before you can even shout, it's too late. Jaws clamp around your chest. You feel your ribs snap like dry twigs. Everything goes black. You've just been eaten by a huge crocodile. You should have known better. You played Assassin's Creed Origins. Weirdly enough, you can still hear, but all you hear is silence for long seconds. Then, a voice. Not a voice like any man's. A voice like a stone dragged across tomb floors, like the desert itself whispering through a crack in the earth. When your eyes open, he is there. Anubis, the jackal-headed god of death, standing tall, wrapped in shadow and gold. His eyes do not blink. "You died poorly. What would be your last wish before entering the Shadow Realm?" he says. You answer, "I wish I never died in the first place." "So be it. I grant you more lives. Learn, adapt, or remain in the sand forever." Then he disappears and you are back. The wounds are gone, your skin untouched, but your steps are no longer innocent. You know now that death is not the end, and that knowledge changes everything. You're still under the same sun with the same sand in your eyes and hear the same man yelling about onions at a stand. But this time, you don't wander toward the Nile like some clueless idiot. You instead decide to hang around in the city, which somehow allows you to live 15 minutes uninterrupted. You stick to the shade, drink from a well that doesn't smell like disease, even manage to sneak a piece of bread off a merchant's cart without getting caught. You're starting to feel confident, except you're now in a crowd. Everyone is yelling. Weird. You're trying to get out of it by moving forward, shoving elbows in everyone's ribs before you suffocate from all the pressure. You manage to reach the road and leave the crowd. You can finally breathe, except you just stepped into a procession blocking the path of a royal chariot. Guards don't ask what you're doing, they employ methods more radical, such as spear first, ask questions later. Looks like you got a spear in your chest. Whoops! You wake up again. Okay, avoid street parades, noted. This time, you stick to the alleys. You follow a group of farmers to the fields. Maybe if you blend in, things will go smoother. After all, you need money to get some food, so working is probably the best way. They hand you a sickle, you nod like you know what you're doing. 10 minutes later, you slice your own foot open and pass out from blood loss in the sun. You wake up once more. Clearly, manual labor isn't for you. Maybe you could try the spiritual way. Maybe the gods will spare you if you show some devotion. You kneel at a temple, mimicking the prayers, but a priest spots you and a creepy smile appears on his face. Then you realize you just knelt during a ceremony meant only for high priests. This is a serious offense. You're now dragged away and sacrificed for divine purification. Another day, another life. At this point, you're not even surprised when you die. You've been stung by a scorpion while trying to pet it. You thought it was a weird dog. Poisoned by a spoiled fig and trampled by a sacred bull that apparently didn't appreciate you waving. You're starting to get the hang of it though. Your deaths are getting less humiliating and more informative. You learn not to drink from the first bottle you see. That certain hand gestures mean very different things depending on who you're talking to. You also learn that markets are a great place to pick pockets, but also a great place to get stabbed if you're bad at it. You stop talking, you start watching, listening. You understand now that the people here survive not because they're lucky, but because they're careful. By now, you've been killed in more ways than you can count, but each time the world resets, and you return with the knowledge burned into your skin, which still doesn't stop you from getting stung to death by bees after trying to grab some honey from a hive. You wake up once more. You now know the rhythm of this world like a song you've been forced to memorize. The smell of morning bread baking, the wet clay between your toes, the exact moment the merchant across the square trips over his own cart. It's all familiar, reassuring even. Except this time, something's off. People are watching you. Not in the curious, "who's that stranger?" way they did before, but in the unnerved whispering, crossing their arms way. A scribe squints at you like he's trying to remember where he's seen your face. A boy tugs his mother's robe and points. The guards at the temple gate stiffen when you pass. One even makes the sign against evil. Because here's the thing, you've died, and a lot, but they don't know that. To them, you're just some peasant who always survives the flood, always walks away from collapsing scaffolding, always know when to leave before the tavern catches fire. They don't remember the deaths, but they remember you. Some people say you speak with the voice of Thoth, messenger of gods, that you've been marked by the gods. Some believe you're a holy man, while others think you're a curse in sandals. You overhear a conversation where someone swears they saw you fall off a cliff 2 days ago, and yet here you are buying onions. Then one morning, you find your image scratched into the stone wall of a shrine. Crude lines, but it's you. Later that day, a group of priests stops you in the street. They don't ask, they demand. "Who are you?" they say. "What are you?" They want answers, and they want them now. You try to play dumb, but they've already decided what you are. A god amongst men. They bring you to the temple. Not the small one with incense and sandals. No, this is the real one. The walls stretch higher than any building you've dared to climb. Gold lines the ceilings, and there, kneeling in the darkness, surrounded by flickering oil lamps, they ask you to speak. You stammer something about rebirth, about visions from the beyond, and that's all it takes. The high priest nods slowly. "The gods have touched you," he whispers. You now have acolytes, followers. People bow when you pass. A man offers you his home. A woman offers you her child. You're being worshipped, and it terrifies you more than any of your deaths did. Now every day they chant your name before the sun even rises. Children are named after you. Statues of your face tower over the marketplace. Priests ask you for omens. Scribes record your every word of scripture, and nobles kneel to kiss your feet. God knows how long it's been since you've actually washed your toes. At first, it was flattering, but it quickly became exhausting and now feels suffocating. You're never alone. Always someone next to you. You can't even go to the bathroom without at least 3 people waiting right in front of the door. And you're too afraid of the answer to ask what they do with what you left behind. You can't go out to buy a loaf of bread without 20 guards with you. You can't take a single step without a chorus of whispers trailing behind. You try to escape and hide your face beneath a hood once, just to be left alone for an afternoon. But when a gust of wind removed your hood, a woman saw you and fainted, and someone cut their hand open, just to offer blood to the undying one. Sure, your meals are left on gold trays, your bed is covered in lotus petals, and you have all the gold in the world. But you're not living. You're being preserved and worshipped, pretty much taxidermied alive. So one day, at dawn, you climb the highest step of your temple. The people below cheer, mistaking your ascent for a blessing. You step to the edge and jump. There's silence for a moment, then screaming. But of course, you wake up on the floor perfectly fine. The sky is unchanged, and outside of the temple, the chant's louder than ever. You can't take it anymore. You let out a scream louder than you ever have, but no one hears. No one in this world, of course, but someone else heard you. Appearing in front of you without fanfare, without thunder or smoke, Anubis is standing. You called for me, he says. You nod slowly. You whisper, I can't take it anymore. He tilts his head, expression unreadable beneath the mask of a jackal. You once begged not to die. And I meant it, you say, but now I'm not living either. Then do you wish to die now? He asks, truly. You meet his gaze, and this time your answer is clear. I do. There's no flash of light, no divine music, only a deep, calm stillness, like the moment just before sleep. Anubis nods once more, then come. And as you step toward him, the world does not end. It just releases you. You just feel like you're at your place forever.